Master
here,
P is
man.
lit right now, man.
Nah,
Stay.
you can see me on the live. I'm already lit.
What's that? What's the thing about?
Okay,
Put
yeah.
your
No,
L's in
but
the
yeah, we
air, man.
live. We live, Nobby. Cause I want to, cause I barely start hearing about the FBA from one of my
Navi, you
folks.
on mute. Or I think Navi got a phone call.
Right, because the FBA is kind of like what you call a self-titled, a self-made thing that's out of thin air. There's no real group or no real organization. It was a saying that people are attaching themselves to. Now, as far as foundational Black America, if you notice something that they're saying, and their saying is that Black people created hip hop. So I think what the people are missing is that the truth of the matter is there is a thing called creation and there's a thing called invention. So when you're looking at the invention of something, um, from the South came rap. 1968, 1967, young older people would say to the young man, "Let me rap to you," and then he'll say some things that rhyme to him. Birds fly like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and he'll rap things that have something to do with life, or it may tell a story. So rap was already a format that, and so was music. So what the East Coast did, the East Coast took all the music that was in America, whether it's jazz, funk, and they would loop certain areas of these records and then take that rap and display it on it, which gave it its own identity in the music. But so it needed a genre. It needed a genre because at that moment, all we knew it to be was rap coming from the plantations. So that's the invention of it. So check it out. So now let's get into the creation of it. So now that Sylvia Robinson has stepped into the picture, and she brings us two of the
So
most iconic records in hip hop, which she gave us The Message and she gave us Rapper's Delight. She produced both of them. She produced these records, and these records started competing with rock and roll records and records. It started really booming, but it wasn't a genre because it was just called something that was already there, rap. So when the music industry was ready to come and start displaying that fashion of music, Sylvia Robinson was the woman that was ahead of Sugar Hill Records. She was also the CEO of the group Rappers Delight that came up with the phrase hip hop, a hibbit to the hibbit, a hip hip a hopping. So this is all on her label. So Sugar Hill is making a deal for the first time with the music industry like Mercury did with Curtis Blow. When she did that, they said, well, we need a name. We can call it. Sylvia Robinson said that the word hip hop has that's what people are saying, from the song. Like now that they heard the song, everybody's like hip hop hip. Because you go back to 1986 and back, there wasn't Run DMC didn't have the word hip hop in their music. The Beastie Boys didn't have the word hip hop in their music. Houdini didn't have the word hip hop
put
in their
right on my
music.
microphone.
Chubb Rock didn't have the word hip hop in his music because it wasn't a genre yet. So once they decided to make it a genre, to start to create. It took
Till the
all the
gates.
fashions that was in the ghetto, which was the brown and the black. So the Hispanics
What's up, though?
and everybody that was there in the beginning when it was they was like one of the first crowds with the blacks, and they started participating in the creation of it, which means the b-boys, the graffiti, and then later to the rapping. They started the main rapper that taught LL Cool J and Cool G Rap how to rap is my friend MC Silver Fox. And MC Silver Fox, being a friend, I asked him, I said, who taught you, or where did you get that from? He said, I got it from a Spanish kid named Tito D. So what I'm trying to show is that Fat Joe and Lord Jamar are both right. Yes, yes, black people invented hip hop. But blacks, brown, and white created it to be what it is today. Even though blacks invented it, it took us all to create it.
Yeah,
So I think I think the mix up is the fact that they're just taking one side of every coin has two sides. Every coin. It has a heads, it has a tails. You know, you have a left, you have a right. So if there's a creation, there's an invention. So if you look at the invention of it, yes, black people soulfully invented rap. But it took us all to create hip hop. Period. When you go back and look at some of the rap groups that were famous, the main ones that were getting their skills off, they had two Hispanics in the group because, like I said, now it's being transformed into what we call hip hop now. So the music industry want all fashions of creativity from the ghetto, which is coming from blacks and browns, which is dancing, rapping, graffiti, clothing styles. You know, all these things that we had, they wanted to capitalize on it. So they had to put us
uh,
all under one genre. That's why they
Echo
call it
said,
hip hop.
Navi Echo said, black people created R&B. Why do you guys forget about R&B? And B? And he said hip hop was derived of disco.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing about R&B, you know, because R&B is just modernized and a sped up. Like when you think about folk music, let's go with folk music first. Folk music is the core music to what we call country, to what we call blues, to what we call R&B. When you think about rhythm and blues, you got to think blues is the core, rhythm and
Mm.
blues. So blues was the core that was coming from folk music because there here in America we started with folk music. When we was doing folk music, you couldn't tell what color the person was. You had to see them to know what color they were because we was all on the folk music. We would then certain instruments came up around like the guitar and people started using them different and it started making a more segregated sound because people started wanting to make their version of funk music using different instruments which created different sound. So when you think about country music and you think about blues music, it's the same thing. It's just a different sound. When you think about rap music, country music, and blues, it's the same thing, just a different sound. Because the truth of it all of it's made with 12 notes. There's no music that's made with more than 12 notes. It's all the same. We're just segregating it. Now that now that now that urban people know how to make music and Europeans know how to make music and Hispanics know how to make music, we traditionally make it that fits our race. And that segregates the center of music, which was folk, when you didn't know what race it was that was singing it. So we took music and we made different diversions of it, which now we need a genre. But before we didn't need a genre. So when you're talking about hip hop and Lord Jamar talking about Fat Joe owe an apology, Fat Joe don't owe nobody an apology because Hispanics did help create hip hop. It's just that black people invented it and they helped create it to be what it is today. You cannot take Hispanics out of the picture of creating hip hop. That's
Hey,
that's when you go
he
when you go
said,
talk to the main legends, they'll tell
Nabi,
you.
Nabi Echo said, what do you think the Beastie Boys was the second rap song that was a hit was a white chick Blondie? He was talking
Right.
about that
Well,
earlier.
yeah, I was talking about Blondie earlier. And you know, Blondie and Benny Hill and Rappin' Duke, they didn't get recognition for what they was doing because it wasn't considered a genre yet. That's what I said. Rap had already existed since 1968. The song that you're talking about from Blondie is called The Rapture. And when Blondie made The Rapture, it was a rap song. But there was no such thing as hip hop at this time because hip hop is what the government and the music industry created to take black and brown culture and sum it up to be one thing so they can capitalize on it. Before that, they were all individual things. Graffiti was graffiti, rap was rap, breakdancing was breakdancing, DJing was DJing. But once the money came around, then everything came together. But this, they say hip hop, graffiti, and all that's hip hop. That's what they say. If it's true, then why come we don't have no history of the first rappers when they got on stage? They brought a graffiti artist on stage, they brought a breakdancer on stage, and they brought like the b-boys on the pop lockers on stage. Why come LL and them wasn't bringing these people on stage if it was part of hip hop? Because see, what the truth was, the hip hop part of it was sold to America. In New York, they learned later in like 86, 87 that this is what the industry is calling it. When you go listen to
that's weird though, because
and people like that, no hip hop.
I'm looking at this right here, and it's saying that on March 28th, 1981, Rapture reached #1 on the Billboard charts. So when did this song actually come out? When did she actually make the song though?
Blondie made the song in like 1971, 70, something like that.
Let's see. Oh.
Because you gotta realize, rap had already. She was just listening to the Jubilees and people like that. That's where she got it from. The Jubilees got it from the Judge.
Rap song.
The Judge got it from the slave plantation.
Okay, yeah. Basically, it said in the late 1970s, Bradwick took Harry and Stein to a rap event in the Bronx one night in 1978, and that's when they heard the MCs rhyming and stuff, and it said they decided to write one of their own in 1979. So she wasn't the first. She got it from. Damn.
Yeah, and so
read that on the encyclopedia.
Right, because she can't be the first because the Jubilees came out in 1968. So so if the Jubilees came out in 1968, then how long had they been doing it before the world seen them doing it? Because rap itself come off the plantation when the slaves would be happy and they would explain their day, they would rhyme it. That's where the rapping came from. Yes. And then the rapping from there went on to instruments as far as folk music and then blues. And then it just kept going until New York got their hands on it and they renaissanced it with loops and stuff like that and formulated it to what we call hip hop today. He said he can get you there. He said, but the folk music, the game wasn't black so much. There's a big difference between R&B and folk music. Right, because folk music, when folk music came out, you didn't know what color it was singing it. Just like when you hear London people talk, you don't know what color they are. Like, well, if you come over to America, you can pretty much tell what color somebody is just by how they talk. But in London, you can't tell. That's how folk music was. It was where you couldn't tell what color the person was singing it, because the frequency didn't dictate a person's lifestyle. It dictated only a story. Yeah, Echo, you're not supposed to have me reading all these messages. You gotta just. So it's like over the Discord. What? Oh, that. So when you think about R&B, it was a different rhythm of blues. It was blues sped up a little more, and then from there it became funk. But this rhythm and blues that we talk about, it's a rhythm and blues. It's blues with a different rhythm. So when you listen to Mary J. Blige, she's singing the blues. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna shed a tear. But it's a different rhythm. But it's a different rhythm than blues. Rhythm and blues. It's blues with a different rhythm. Most people, when you hear R&B song, R&B songs are designed to with some form of blues. The dude got hurt by the girl. The dude missed the girl. The dude wish he had the girl. The dude lust over the girl. It's a blues factor. But you don't look at it like that no more because based on the rhythm of it, rhythm and blues. So it's one thing that been modernized into another thing. It's still folk music, but once you start to take it into rhythm and blues, and then you start taking subject matters that only appeal to a certain people, then you segregate it. Just like rock and roll. Like it's no different than rock and roll and rhythm and blues, both there for the same purpose, to appeal to a certain people. Before that, we didn't.
Awoken once said, "It's deep how the United States, in the United States, you can tell what color someone is by hearing the voice, even without seeing them."
Ain't that crazy? I agree with you because when you listen to people talk in London, you don't know what color they are. I've seen dudes where we be in the room with our European buddies and they'll be swearing up and down the whole time, and then they'll say to him, "But see, you a white man." Like, what are you talking about? I'm black. You know, they didn't even think he was black because you can't really tell what color they are just by hearing a European's voice over in London. There's no way to distinguish it. Over here, we segregated it just like we did our music. They all talk. There is no segregation.
He said, but the soul, Echo said, but the soul of it, that's what came from black, the rhythm.
Well, yeah, the invention of it comes from blacks. And then the creation of it took all of us. Because even though we was in there making those rhythms, it was Puerto Rican guitar players playing with us too. So we got to take credit for invention, but the creation of it took all of us. But the invention of it was soulfully done by black people.
Why is it so much? Why is they argue? What is the arguments behind the shit though? Like that's what I don't understand. And like, what is the FBA?
Because the FBA is saying Foundational Black America, saying that things in America that we founded, we're going to make sure that nobody gets credit for them. So here comes Fat Joe, and Fat Joe's like, yo, blacks and Puerto Ricans did this thing 50-50. Yes, he's right when he's talking about creating hip hop, but the invention of rap come from blacks. They just gotta say it right. Because right now they're saying it wrong. They're acting like they're dealing with a coin with only one side. There's two sides to every coin. So where there's a creation, there's an invention.
My bad. My microphone. I think that microphone died. Can't be doing that. I ain't been using it that long. But
so if the creators invented the earth, they invented it, then that means we created how it turns out, or the faith of it. We create that.
Yeah. So and it was, we don't know what person, the actual person that created it. But if like there's an actual person that created it, it always takes everybody else to make it into something.
Yeah. It took Puerto Ricans, it took blacks to create the genre that the government was willing to pay for. But the invention of it, before there was a government, it was done in black families from the plantation. That's where it come from. Rap come from the South. Hip hop comes from the East Coast. Rap comes from the South. That's why you hear rapping in songs that 1968 that ain't got nothing to do with New York. All the rap songs that came out in 1968 and 69, they ain't got nothing to do with New York.
I think as far as the Lord Jamal and Fat Joe debate, I think it's crazy to not acknowledge Puerto Ricans, or other Cubans' cultures being invoked in early hip hop. Yes, black people created it. But yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, dang, but didn't it bring us all together? And ain't that what really
Yeah,
matters? It don't matter
yeah,
who created it.
yeah. Well, we invented it, but all we invented it rap. So the core of what they talking about, the rapping, okay, we invented that. But the creation of what we call hip hop, it took Puerto Ricans, blacks, and everybody, even whites, to have the money there to display it.
So now,
So it took us all to create hip hop. But rap itself, it was done by us. Uh,
yeah,
B-boys, B-boys were done by Hispanics from the Bronx. You know, so because the people in Harlem would laugh at them and call them boy yoing yoing boys. The boy yoing yoing boys later turned to B-boy. But it come from boy yoing yoing, from them springing back and forth on cardboard.
and then okay, and then like what they got to do with that? Because he's saying something about that when they brought us over on ships, and I'm like going, bro, we was here before they got here.
Yeah. There brought
We
some
was
Africans
already
over here,
here.
but we was already here. Yeah, we was already here. We were indigenous Indians, is what we were. So since they we were the last tribe of the Indians that they didn't kill off. We were Indians, but we look like Africans. But because just like a black Shih Tzu look like a black Great Dane, but they two different dogs. So
Yeah.
we look like them, but we're Indians. And so when that word went away from us for so long that we're looking for an identity now. And that's why we call ourselves Israelites. That's why we call ourselves Jews. That's why we call ourselves Black Americans, because they made us forget we Indians.
Which is wild
So that
because I always thought about that. Like even when you like search your little family history tree, like my great grandmother was full blooded Indian, so I'm like going, I know
yeah.
that just through my family tree. I didn't have to go research that in no book to know that
No,
shit.
no, no. 2 + 2 is 4. You are what you came out of.
Yeah, and they came, and
So,
my family came from down south
right,
and came towards
right.
California and came to
Is
California.
your grandmother Indian?
Yeah,
Once they,
my great
once they,
grandmother.
we
So your
watched
mom's
them.
and black. Your mom's and pops pitch black though, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
my
because
great
dark.
grandmother that was Indian. She was dark too. She wasn't real dark
Yeah,
like
dark
us,
don't
but she was
mean.
dark.
Yeah, dark don't mean you come from Africa. The equator stretch around the whole world. So so it's just that somebody wanted us to uh, think that we're lesser than dogs, and that because the only way you can be lesser than a dog is because you black. We all come from the same place, but they don't look at a Shih Tzu and a Rottweiler like that, or they don't look at a black Great Dane and a black Pit Bull like that, or they don't look at a black wolf and a black hot dog like that. But for some reason, they want you to think that because you're black, you come from there. No,
It's like nah.
this planet is huge. And so there's some dark people that look like me over there in that place called Africa. I'm an Indian. I kind of look like them, but you can see my skin is red. And like my mother said, her mother's mother was full-blooded Indian. So from what I was told, you are what you come out of. So you can call me an African all you want, but that'd be disrespecting my grandmother. I'm an Indian.
That's what I'm just saying. So,
I see Africans, and they do get brown like me. Just like an Arabic get brown like me. Just like Chinese get brown like me.
Well, hey, he
We don't
said
we don't
Dwayne
we
said
don't
Dwayne said he believed DJ Kool Herc was Jamaican.
well, DJ Kool Herc is Jamaican. And so DJ Kool Herc's name come up more than Sylvia Robinson's. But DJ Kool Herc didn't do none of the 5 elements, not one of them.
We was
Africa Bambaataa was calling Kool Herc the father of hip hop, and so the rest of them started saying it. He wasn't really the father. It's just that Africa Bambaataa was saying that, and so everybody else started saying it. When really the core of hip hop come from Sylvia Robinson because she made the two most iconic records in hip hop, Rapper's Delight and The Message. She produced both of them.
Yeah, that Rapper's Delight still
What,
slap
what does
right
Cool Herc?
today.
What does Cool Herc? What does Cool Herc got that can compete with that?
But that's the thing, though, Nabi, that we was talking about earlier is that okay, a lot of those ones that came into the game and that was rapping, like we didn't know that they was Jamaican or we didn't know that.
No, because they was coming from a melting pot of places like one thing about New York, you know, they are fully aware of different degrees of black. You know, when you get into the Midwest and the South and certain places, they're not used to a different degree of black. They're only used to one black. So what end up happening is, over time, people throw the color black into all one pot and say we're Africans. The reason why they stopped us from calling ourselves Indians because it would have gave us entitlement to land. So that's why we don't call ourselves Indians no more. Because if we did, we would have entitlement. So as long as we call ourselves black, we won't have anything. Because you got to remember, the man is the land and the land is the man. Whatever the dust of the land is, that's the name of the man. So if I'm in Asia, I'm going to see Asians. If I'm in China, I'm going to see Chinese. If I'm in Australia, I'm going to see Australians. There's no place called black. So if you call yourself Black American, that means man with no land in America.
Damn.
Well, we don't look at it like that. And the reason why we don't look at it like that, because we lost we forgot about our grandmother.
He said
that we were Indian.
Dwayne said DJing isn't an element of hip hop. It's not. You don't think so? You don't think DJing
is one of the main elements of hip hop. That's where it starts. Without a remember, if you go back to hip hop in the beginning, if you go back to hip hop in the beginning, true, all the groups were named from the DJ first. It would be the DJ's name first, then the rapper. Eric B and Rakim.
He said
the DJ
Dwayne said I thought the elements of hip hop were MCs, DJs, B-boys, and graffiti artists.
That's right. That makes up the lifestyle, and pop locking is a part of that. Fashion is a part of that too.
The b-boy
the element of fashion. We created our own fashion, b-boy clothes, hip hop style, and then certain clothing lines started making clothes with patches on them and things like that because it come from hip hop.
Look, but Disco said, Echo said, but Disco had white people also, but R&B was pretty much solely black the sound that's like the foundation of even disco. See, I didn't know rap songs in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you said that because disco was never a genre. Disco is the name of the place where they play music. So when you go to the disco, that meant the club. That was one of the first words for club. So when they said disco music, they meant club music. It was never a sound. Disco only meant club music, like going to the club, and you go to the club and you hang out, and the music that they played in there, the disc jockey, it made it a disco. Because it's where the disc jockey, would play popular music. So disco was only a place. It was never a genre. So that's why you never seen nobody win an award for disco. Because disco was never a genre. So a lot of people think disco was a genre. No, it was a place where people played music. The disc jockey is the reason they called it a disco. The disc jockey. There's no such music as disco music. Disco music means club music. That's all it means. It's not a genre or a sound. You'll never see nobody win an award for disco. It's not a sound. Disco is not a sound. Disco is a place. So when you go to the club,
like back in the days when they had the juke joints, right?
Yeah, like that, like the juke joint.
Yeah.
So people would say, juke music, because they knew that in the jukebox there was music in the jukebox and you can play it. Same thing with disco. The disc jockey is playing music over there. Let's go to the disco. Short for disc jockey playing music, a place, not a music. There's no such thing as a music called disco.
So when did the
You can
okay, like, yeah, so because the DJ basically, that nigga had to do a lot of stuff. He really got the party jumping. It's
yeah,
crazy because
the DJ core element. The DJ was the core element when hip hop started because somebody had to loop the record that the rapper was gonna rap on.
hey, Beat Street, man, that's why Beat Street was like it was. Beat Street
Yeah,
it didn't put no race to what was going on. That
no,
shit was just happening. This what happened, and look how fun
yeah,
it was. Look what it created
that was the
now,
creation.
today.
Yeah, right, that was the creation. The invention was from the slave plantation that led to the creation of hip hop. The invention led to the creation of hip hop.
Said it all,
So,
baby. Hey, bro.
so all this FBA talk and all that, Lord Jamal, let's be clear. Let's be all the way clear here, Lord Jamal. There is nowhere that we can see where your voice meant anything to your city. Nowhere. Let alone your voice meaning anything in hip hop. The reason why Rod Digger and Busta Rhymes' relationship ain't the way it used to be is also because of you. And you knew that would cause a conflict in the two, and you still did it. So let me go to this. Busta Rhymes already had you cornered off and blackballed in certain areas because you thought you was getting away with how you was treating and doing with Rod Digger. So you already had got cut off from that. Then you never had a standalone man moment in hip hop. Like we seen Grand Poobah have a standalone man moment. We seen Sadat X have a standalone man moment. And this is the group you come from, Grand Nubian.
Yeah, brand
Not
new.
once have we seen you have a standalone man moment. But now, here you are in front of this new generation of people that's 30 years old, that's 20 years old, and you're coming off as if you're one of us. You're saying like you're one of us. Like I'm a real person in real life to where my opinion matters in my city in real life. So when I hear you talk, I know you're not like that. I know you're not like that. And so I don't want to hear you talking about Fat Joe personally because you're saying it the wrong way. Yes, Puerto Ricans helped create hip hop that black people invented.
What did he?
If
I
you,
didn't even see that one, Nabi.
which one?
I didn't see what Lord Jamal said. I'm about to pull it up
Oh
now.
my God. Oh my God. So let me do a brief. So let's start with Fat Joe. Fat Joe says that he has a problem with these radical black guys that are coming down on people that if they're not look black, then they shouldn't do black things kind of vibe. And they're calling themselves the foundation of Black America. So Fat Joe says, I don't know who these broke niggas are. That was the statement. From that statement, it triggered off everything. So then here comes Lord Jamal. And Lord Jamal says that as a member of Foundational Black America, he said, we should boycott Fat Joe's album. And there's no such thing as Foundational Black America, first of all. Second of all, y'all making it an issue now because y'all gonna cling to each other on the social media. So you gonna start acting like you represent that. He gonna start, but technically, there's no such thing as that because hip hop never agreed to nothing like that. That's something that you, Lord Jamal, did. No different than you said that Eminem was a guest in hip hop. Like He said that Eminem was a guest in hip hop. How can Eminem be? How could Eminem be a guest in hip hop when the average dude can't out rap him? Don't sound like no guest to me, bro. Like, would a guest be rapping with Dr. Dre?
Dwayne said Lord Jamal don't want to acknowledge other people being involved. I think Lord Jamal is being petty, separating FBA from Caribbean people in early hip hop is like splitting hairs, pointless.
Right, right. Because one of Karis One's most famous records in the '80s was "Cocaine Business Controls America," which was a Caribbean beat. You know, when you go back to listen to Karis One's first album, there's 2 or 3 Caribbean beats on it. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. There's people that are speaking for hip hop that if you really look at their time in it, they never had a solo man moment. So they just speaking from a place because you was with Brand Nubian, like, and then what? Because everybody else got it. Because everybody else got it, then what? Fat Joe got it, then what?
Yeah. But UL said rap is based on the same thing that jazz, blues, and all the other singing forms are a rhythmic teaching of what's been happening and what's happening now, what's going on. Yeah, yo.
Yeah, expression. Yeah, expression. So we're gonna sum that up to say expression. It's a way of expressing, you know, and whatever it is you have to express, you know, because that's what's really going on at the end of the day, expression. People are expressing themselves, whether it's how they feel or how somebody else feels, they want to express it.
And
you know, so
they going in on the chat. He said Puerto Ricans like R&B too, so does Hispanic. There's a lot of Mexicans here in California, and those Mexicans are into R&B back in the 60s. They still are. That's what they listening to. And Dwayne said, I think Lord Jamar is clout chasing for clicks. It gives him something grandstand about on this platform.
yeah, because, and I agree with that, because one thing that Fat Joe did say that was true was you was the weakest rapper in the group. You really was. I was a Brand Nubian fan.
Thanks, Echo.
And every time your part came on, I kind of walked off, or I kind of like didn't really look at the TV. I was only there to hear Grand Poobah for real. Sadat X, I was cool with that, but I was really there to hear Grand Poobah. You was one of the first imitators I ever seen in my life. Like, matter of fact, when I go back and think about why the Jamaicans don't come over here with their dreadlocks anymore and they come over here with short hair, it was dudes like you.
Oh, wow.
You was born straight in America. You threw some dreads in your hair. Way back then, when we were in the beginning, like most of Americans, we was kind of looking at it skeptical because it was somebody else's identity. But then once the beauty shops and the parlor shops start getting a hold of it in America, they took somebody's tradition and turned it into a fashion. So then you wonder why Jamaicans come over here with their hair short. And now it's only Americans with dreadlocks.
Okay, and UL said basically the same thing you were saying. He said FBA doesn't really exist. It's a propaganda-based group that is most based on grifting people of certain skin tone and has no organization, just social media code phrasing.
Yeah,
that's what you basically
he's right.
said.
That's what I just said. I just said it doesn't exist at all nowhere in hip hop. There is, if there was a such thing as foundational Black America in hip hop, how did I miss the telegram? With the people I know and the people that I have in my phone, how did I miss it? There's no such thing. It doesn't exist. It's just some dudes online that just made that up. It sound good. They started saying it. It has no connection to Black people. Like, so what you saying, Lord Jamal, it's a lie, because Black people invented rap and all of us created hip hop. So if you're going to say hip hop, it took all of us to do that, bro. If you're going to say rap, that come from the slave plantations. You know, because that's what they did when they got happy. When they got happy, they rhymed.
Yeah.
And when the
Right.
master would do little things to them, they would have ciphers. Before, like how we would have freestyle ciphers today, that's what they kind of did when they were happy. And they would rhyme. That's where it come from. That's how
Oh
it
wow.
ended up. That's how it ended up in Louisiana. And then that man from Louisiana brought it to the Bronx. They called him the judge. And
Bro, y'all is dope because you see the correlation in that with what you just said. Like you can see the correlation of everything just doing the same thing again, but in a different way.
yeah, because
And it's
New York Renaissance. Then once New York Renaissance it, then it became all the music in
damn.
America was renaissanced and looped and stuff like that. That needed a name.
Why
And
did
so the
blind?
invention of hip hop was from New York. New York invented hip hop. New York didn't invent rap though. They invented hip hop. Rap was already an element in the black community, all in the Midwest and the South and in the West Coast.
Yeah, it was
We
already
was already rapping.
we was
Yeah,
already
we was already
rapping.
rapping.
But
We was
it's
just
it's
rapping with bands.
yeah.
We was
It
rapping with bands. That's all it was. We
yeah,
wasn't looping
I
nothing.
don't yeah, and I don't think the shit should be creating no divide because I think
No,
everybody gonna look at it differently because really on their side, like when we go in right here and the person say, well, the first person I heard rap song was Blondie, and then you go, well, the first person I heard rap was this person. And from every side, everybody just heard it differently. You feel me?
right, right. Because it was a thing that was designed for poor people. So it was poor Latinos, it was poor blacks, it was poor whites, and it was, when you ain't got nothing to do, you make something to do. And that was just one of those things that was made to do in the most poorest areas of that place. Because only being poor can create something like that. Because in order to create and have the time to do something like that, that means you ain't got nothing to do. So that's how hip hop was invented by people who didn't have nothing to do. So when you look at the core rap, it was invented by expression. You know, they got paid today, or the slave master didn't whoop nobody today, and he laughed with him today, like Benjamin Franklin. That
That
was like
means
Benjamin Franklin.
Martin.
The thing the thing about Benjamin Franklin was he would tell his slaves jokes. He'd be laughing with his slaves.
Oh
They don't talk
yeah.
about that. They don't talk about that though. Benjamin Franklin used to try to be a jokester with the slaves. They be laughing with him. Hmm.
I hear that.
Yeah. Some people needed them. Because the word slave it'll get used wrong. You think whips and all that. No, it
Yeah.
just meant it's just another word of employment. You know.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah.
You know.
But
That's all.
yeah. Why they living in some fucked up conditions, but you work for me type shit. But that's wild, bro.
Yeah.
This is a deep
Yeah.
rabbit hole right here, I guess. I
But
still don't
the
get that. I haven't seen. Like I said, I barely started hearing about the FBA like the last probably 4 or 5 days. So like I
it
still
don't
don't know nothing.
exist.
Nothing.
It don't exist. It's made up. It don't exist. It has nothing to do with our grandmothers and grandfathers' pain. It's just some made up concept for somebody to feel relevant.
Yeah.
Because for anyone to try to take Hispanics out of the creation of hip hop, you a clown. Because we didn't say nothing about the invention of rap. We're talking about hip hop that the music industry decided to make it a genre because that's how they paid us to create that music. So once they started paying us to create it, the genre was called hip hop. And so all of us played a part in that. All of
Yeah.
us.
Yeah, it's just
You know,
I think the part is like, when they start getting disrespectful with each other about these conversations. That's the part that gets me because it's gonna create a whole
mhm.
nother divide. Like we together now with Puerto Ricans, with Mexicans, we like together. Like why
Yeah.
create this divide again?
Yeah, ain't no real Puerto Rican or no real Hispanic is going to believe anything that Lord Jamal is talking about. They ain't going to believe that stuff. They know what the history is, just like we. Stop, man. Stop playing.
Yeah.
Nigga, what was Heavy D, nigga?
Yeah, what was Heavy D? He was.
Okay, then. All right, then. Jamaican.
Was he?
Yes, Heavy D was a Jamaican.
I didn't know that.
We got rid of all the
Yes, sir.
couches, the stands.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Busta Rhymes is not a black American.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go back, but he can walk all the way up in there now.
So if you're gonna do that, if y'all gonna talk like that, then that means Busta Rhymes got to get out. It's a whole bunch of them. Mav Hoffa, he got to go because he's a Caribbean. When dudes been living in America so long, they just sound American. But Mav Hoffa, he's Caribbean too. He's from the islands. You know, man, we need to go somewhere with all that FBA stuff, man. I'm telling you, if anybody's listening to this live right now, I'm telling you personally, do not feed into that crap, man. It's a bunch of crap that's meant to segregate. It's a race.
Yeah,
It's a race card that we don't want. We in 2024. We don't need to be playing no race cards right now.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. You know, I like we can talk consciously about who created it, who made it, and all that, but we don't need to get the disrespected. Because now once I disrespect you, you know I'm being black. My people gonna back me. Your people gonna back you. Now they gonna start going at it.
Right. That ain't man. It ain't worth it when both parties are telling the truth. Yes, you're right, Jamal. We invented rap, but you're wrong to say that Hispanics didn't help create hip hop. Well, it took us all to create it. Blacks, whites, Hispanics.
It's a Rastafarian thing.
Mm-hmm. The Jamaicans, the Caribbeans, they was there too. Like I said, Heavy D. We can just go with Heavy D. You know, Heavy D came out in the 80s. Yeah, just because he was.
I hate to say it, but I gotta go now because it's about to be loud in here, and I'm gonna have to tap out on this one, y'all.
Yeah.
So
we'll hook back up.
But we'll get back on this, Nabi, and then next time, Nabi, we gonna have to go through some videos, like play them on fast, to catch us up to date. You feel me?
Right. You know what? Good. I'm gonna get some clips, and you just let me know a day ahead of time. I have some clips ready. I'll have, we can really roll it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can just share them right here in the Discord. You can share right there. However, then we can watch it in the Discord, so everybody will be able to hear it.
Right. Let's do it, man. I'm with it, man. Shout out to everybody that was listening, man, to the True Life Story. Shout out to True Life Stories. Echo and UL. Shout out to those guys.
Y'all see his channel in my channel descriptions. You always see the BH. I keep on saying it, bro.
Yeah, the BHMG, Black Hole Media Group.
Yeah, the Black Hole Media Group. Every time I look and try to look it up, I'm like going, I don't know why I just don't go to my channel. I'm typing in Black Hole Media Group, and I'm like, you don't even put it there like that. But somebody tried to. But all right, Nabi, I'm gonna tap in with you.
All right. Okay, bet, brother.
All right. And thank y'all for joining. Yeah, I want to go deeper into that, but yeah, it's gonna get kind of loud over here, and I don't want them all in my business. I'm gonna move back in the room though. I'm gonna have to move back in the room just in order to continue to do lives. Because when I'm out here, you feel me? I'm probably Blake gonna be it's about to. But we be live gaming though. We be playing Roblox and shit on TikTok. So yeah, you can check us out there.